Hello, everyone. I am Scott Silverman. So, on behalf of my co-founders, Veronica Sonsev and Alan Dick, I'd like to welcome you to our weekly webinar. Today is Successful Partner Marketing in Q4 and Beyond. We all know customer acquisition costs continue to rise and provide lower ROI for a number of reasons. But today we're focused on alternatives to paid search and paid social. We have a great presentation and a panel discussion to cover these topics. But thank you all for joining us. This is our 50th webinar that CommerceNext has produced since we started them on March 25th, 2020. And we thought you could help us celebrate. So that's exactly how we imagine everyone watching our webinars to be, what we expect them to be doing during that time. And I want to start with a few other important thank yous. First, I want to thank today's speakers. So today we have Brian Beck, who's VP of Content and Innovation at 100 Flowers, Sarah Henry, who's Head of Content and Influencer Marketing at Walmart, and Mandy O'Brien, Senior Director of Customer Success at Partnerize. We really appreciate you all being a part of our webinar today, and we want to thank you by giving you a nice gift. So you will all be getting a thank you gift from our gifting partner, Gift Now. As well, 5 lucky attendees who are listening live will also be getting a gift, and we will be picking those randomly among our people that logged in at the end of this webinar. So a big thank you also to Partnerize for sponsoring today's webinar. Like I said, this is our 50th. We couldn't have been doing these without the support of our sponsors and delivering all of this goodness to our attendees. And it's really been a pleasure working with Amanda and the Partnerize team on the webinar. So in terms of our agenda for today, after, I have a couple of housekeeping information to share. Mandy is going to give a presentation on partner marketing. We're going to do a few audience poll questions, and then we'll turn our panelist cameras on and have a robust panel discussion. So a couple of things that are coming up. Next week's webinar on October 20th is going to be moderated by my co-founder, Veronica. If you're in retail, you're already thinking about holiday, and so you don't want to miss this webinar. The Holiday Gifting Playbook, a consumer perspective on 2021 holiday, featuring Bespoke Post, Food 52, Core Site Research, and Gift Now. Also, we are continuing every other week with our podcast, and our newest episode dropped today, and it's an interview with Crocs CMO Heidi Cooley and Adam Michaels, who's the Chief Digital Officer. And you'll hear them talk about the unique and successful collaboration between marketing and digital that's driving Crocs' amazing growth and how they're approaching international markets. So the podcast can be found on Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Also, want to direct your attention to the CommerceNext YouTube channel. We, as many of you know, we had our in-person event with 700 people a couple weeks ago, and a lot of that content was recorded, and you can find many of those sessions on our YouTube channel. So I encourage you to take a moment and check that out, and please subscribe so you can get updated with any new content that we put up. So don't worry if you about missing anything. We're recording the webinar. We'll make it available as a replay tomorrow, and I just want to show you where a couple things are on your screen. So in the big marker console on the upper right, you'll see there's chat, Q&A, polls, and handouts. That is that area that's circled in the upper right. Chat is where you can interact with your fellow attendees. You can give our speaker high fives. You can say hello. And then the Q&A, and that is where if you have questions for the presentation or for any of the panels during the conversation, we really encourage you to interact and be a part of this and have your, let us know what your questions are. So the way to do that just go down the bottom, you submit your question, and then you'll see it in the published list. And if you like a question, you can upvote it. That helps us prioritize which questions we'll try to get to during the webinar. There's a number of handouts. So Mandy's presentation, you'll see is in there. And then there's a few other white papers from Partnerize on different topics, some great material. So please make sure you go to the handouts to get all of that. And then if you're listening to the replay, go down to the bottom right, and you can see more information about handouts and some of the poll question responses and things like that. So with that, I would like to invite Mandy O'Brien to join our virtual stage, talk a little bit about partner marketing, and set the table for the rest of our conversation. So Mandy, welcome.
Thank you, Scott. I really appreciate it. Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's presentation on organizing for successful partnership marketing in Q4 and beyond. As Scott mentioned, my name is Mandy O'Brien, and what I want to do today is walk you through how we define partnership marketing and really discuss the evolving skill sets needed to drive partnership marketing, as well as which teams may be able to assist you in doing this moving forward. We're also going to dive into challenges and opportunities and what you can do to get everyone organized and on the same page internally when it comes to optimizing partnership management. So what is partnership marketing? Before we dive into how you should organize for partnership success in Q4, it's critical to understand what we mean when we talk about partnership marketing. So by definition, partnership marketing is all of the activities that really help companies develop, design, and execute plans to really find the right partners, recruit them, onboard, enable them to promote, incentivize them for promotion, co-sell with, manage, measure, and report on this activity. So when you consider all of these different activities, there's an awful lot of moving parts to ensure that all facets of the partnership are producing the best possible outcomes. But really, in order for your partnerships to be effective, you need a simple and efficient way to manage these relationships. So when you consider digital partnerships, they're often considered in a historical context, and that is of affiliate marketing. And while affiliate was adequate in the early days of transactional partnerships, it was also the only viable solution for brands to really track, measure, and pay for these digital partnerships. However, partnerships had broader needs that affiliate solutions really could not address nor facilitate. So utilizing affiliate technology for these partnerships was really like a round peg in a square hole. They really didn't fit together. So to give a little bit of context, we need to review the defining characteristics through a historical lens to really demonstrate how this category has developed over the years. So for example, if we consider how relationships were established, they were largely one-way and linear. Brands really had to wait for publishers or affiliates to apply to their affiliate programs with no option to really proactively go out and establish these relationships themselves. Additionally, affiliate marketing didn't necessarily have a true tech stack. The stack was the affiliate network alone, with really no ability to leverage or integrate additional tool sets or systems. This really created data silos for cross-channel and limited management and limited measurement methodologies to use basic spreadsheets. The channel also employed the use of cookie-based tracking that utilized a last-click model. So while there was favor in the sense that it was still a performance-based channel and therefore a little risk to marketers, the employment of last click created a situation where the dominant partner types in channel were coupon and cashback partners. It was really only these partners where scale could be achieved through this channel, meaning a marketer knew that it could yield the conversion volume necessary. The downside to this was that there was a little partner diversity and an alienation of partner types that tended to live in the upper funnel or discover-oriented stages of a consumer journey. So while many marketers really longed to unlock the value of content and influencers, the last click model and affiliate limited their ability to be rewarded and compensated for their role in the journey. So beyond attribution at a partner level, marketers really were forced to utilize commissioning tactics that only contemplated revenue volume at a program or partner level, really the most common being tiered-based commissioning. But for some marketers, revenue volume alone isn't the sole objective. They're looking for brand awareness. They're looking for incrementality. They're looking to increase the lifetime value. In this fractured environment, it also required marketers to leave the platform and perform tasks in other systems or tools, which really created an inefficient process. So it is this manual nature that really created the perception that affiliate was just too difficult and time sensitive to invest in. And there was really limited opportunity for scale. This really, for marketers, they didn't see a meaningful impact the affiliate channel can have on their brands. Now let's take a look at who typically ran an affiliate program. So historically, affiliate was run by one person, typically an affiliate manager whose main objective was to simply grow program revenue. Let's take a look at Ashley, for example. So Ashley's sole focus was around revenue growth, and her primary KPI and objective was demonstrating the value of the role the channel plays in driving this top-line revenue. She really took pride in her work, which was largely measured on the relationships with existing publishers while attempting to establish new ones, so through robust recruitment. She always ran into obstacles in showcasing program value, which was limited to spreadsheets, and as a result, her and her channel weren't taken seriously by executives. Her experience was solely in affiliate marketing, which was valuable to a degree, but it really didn't contemplate the broader picture in the world of partnerships and the true impact this can have on one's organization. However, the world of partnerships expanded and evolved, really affecting many teams internally. And the growth of this channel has resulted in the need for organizational growth when it comes to managing the activities relative to partnerships. Affiliate Ashley still offers immense value, but she isn't the only function that utilizes partnerships within organizations today. Consider the evolution of the channel, where first and foremost, partners have become more diverse and accessible through more sophisticated partner discovery tools. The process of identifying and establishing these relationships really has improved with advancements in automation, giving deeper optics into prospective types of partnerships. Additionally, partner communications and exchanges are now two-way, with partners being initiated and established by both the brand and the partner themselves, rather than one way by brands. API-first approaches have also created deeper integrations into the channel, really allowing users to truly maximize benefits of partner marketing. With these integrations, partnerships are easily able to be established, tracked, and measured across the MarTech stack, really giving holistic insights into programs within organizations' reporting source of truth. Also, where attribution was once not even possible in the affiliate channel, the present environment has advanced in a way that enables marketers to really attribute the value across the consumer journey, compensating partners for their value and contribution, regardless if it was last click or not. The introduction of these reward methodologies really has enabled other partner types to achieve scale in this channel, specifically content. And last but not least, innovations in partnerships that really have enabled solution providers to offer comprehensive one-stop solutions rather than relying on a multitude of platforms, as we mentioned earlier, and tools for program management. So really empowering the marketers to perform all of the tasks in one destination really eliminates friction and time requirements that were historically imposed on marketers, specifically in affiliate. Additionally, it has given way for a sequential guided workflow that assists the marketer in understanding really what to do next and how to optimize their brands. So really, what is the point? The point is that the channel has evolved, offering a really diverse range of different partnerships, shifting away from that last click cashback coupon model. This really largely in part is due to attribution and commissioning advances that have enabled other partner types beyond last click to really earn compensation, regardless of where they fell within that click path. And though affiliate is still very much a part of this world, and typically the most recognized when you think about partnership marketing, there are other partner types, including influencers, loyalty, referral, brand, and content that we want to talk about a little bit today. So here's a snapshot of some partnerships in action. The rise of content partnerships is real and is very much partnership type that is contributing significantly to the world of partnerships. So within Partnerize in 2020, our content partners experienced a 75% gain year over year, whereas other partner types experienced roughly 31% year over year. And influencers, as we all know, really hit the marketing scene several years ago and have proved that they're a mainstay within marketing programs. This is a top priority for brands, and it has been, and will continue to be so over the coming years. We're not talking about, when we talk about influencers, we aren't talking about massive macro level celebrity influencers either, but we are talking about the micro and nano influencers who have very engaged audiences and follower bases. Again, here's a snapshot of content partnerships in action, really increasing brand awareness and serving as content creators in the partnership space, monetizing content through the use of embedded links in articles and codes in social posts. So with the evolution of affiliate and partnerships does come a change in an organization's functions and the departments that oversee and manage these partnerships. So historically, many thought of transactional relationships through the primary lens of affiliate, with really only affiliate managers or boutique agencies touching this part of the business. And their primary emphasis was on revenue growth and a siloed view within their organization. So these silos, we mentioned this before with affiliate Ashley, these silos create an inability for program managers to communicate effectively internally and really create an inability for CMOs to truly understand the role that affiliate relationship has across the entire marketing mix. But we know that consumers don't shop in silos today. And, digitally connected consumer has a complex array of touch points requiring a more sophisticated approach that really does break down barriers. So in today's world, winning teams broadly embrace partnerships across functions like marketing, biz dev, PR, and social. They know that they can tap partnerships across the consumer journey to help stay present with their target audience. And with new functions leveraging these partnerships, measurement approaches also shift. Short-term metrics like return on ad spend or conversion are really no longer sufficient in demonstrating the true value of the channel. With metrics like lifetime value, incrementality, profitability, and margin gaining, they are gaining more favor moving forward. So what does this mean? It's a convergence of channels. We're bringing together this legacy idea of affiliate standing alone with one team or one group or one person really is spreading across many brands' organizations. So as a result of this diversification and multiplication, there really has been deeper involvement among organizations across their departmental functions. So the net result is broader involvement across organizations and accountability within teams when it comes to managing these partnerships. What we're seeing are the lines between departments being increasingly blurred. I would say specifically with social and PR. So as this performance-driven channel comes of age, so must our approach. The partnership channel really needs to work in harmony as a lever that can be effectively pulled across teams rather than acting as this standalone channel. The first order of business in doing this is internal organization and really breaking down the organizational barriers that do create silos rather than efficiencies and having a material impact on how we can identify and really nurture performance-based relationships. So while affiliate marketing was largely dominated by retail marketers, it has since been more widely embraced across a variety of industries as well as functional titles. So this industry was largely embraced by retail marketers for many, many years, but that is changing with more industries leveraging partnerships as central to their marketing mix. So we've seen more development in industries and verticals like subscription, streaming, and telco, for example. Also across industries, it's not just the marketing team managing these partnerships anymore. So we've seen an influx in changes of titles and functions that really own partnerships in their organization, as I mentioned, including social teams, PR, growth, biz dev, and many more. Now, there are some challenges and opportunities, so we would be remiss if we didn't mention some of these as a result of partnerships being widely embraced across multiple teams and functions. As long as the opportunities outweigh the challenges, which we strongly believe they do, the learning curve is worth it. So I want to walk through some of the challenges and opportunities that we see exist. So for example, partnerships require knowledge and expertise coupled with organization. It simply is unrealistic to assume junior resources can absorb these functions without a well thought out plan and process for execution. Further, teams that may be accustomed to owning the message will have to learn to offer flexibility when it comes to messaging with their partners to really ensure that this is authentic and it appears authentic coming from these sites. And the measurement approaches need to be embraced. No longer is it satisfactory to really send sample packs or free product to partners without some quantifiable metric to gauge the success of this optimization. But the opportunities really do outweigh the learning curve. So with partnerships living across the teams and departments, organizations stand to benefit from a diverse array of partner types that can help them achieve this omnipresence they need to compete in today's competitive climate. And by information sharing across teams, those that are not historically accustomed to performance-based measurement will be able to quantify the impact of their efforts. And with common goals around partnerships, teams will be able to be more collaborative, accountable, and aligned, achieving success in meeting goals, overarching objectives for the entire organization. Now, with this new model, it does drive profitable growth. So with the rapidly evolving partner landscape, the complexity of partnership management, and adding more departments and functions, teams can no longer succeed on manual processes. So efficiency needs to be top of mind when you are executing within the partnership channel. It requires a new model that yields this profitable growth. But again, that profitable growth can only be achieved through the introduction of the partnership lifecycle, the management of all of the facets that make up the partner market within one single destination. So I wanted to give you a visual and a look at the partnership lifecycle as we see it. So this is designed to make everyone's lives easier with a simplified end-to-end automation solution that really considers, first and foremost, the discovery. So the process for identifying, recruiting, and activating partnerships with the intent to drive higher lifetime value and profitable growth. The second is to track this activity. So this is the phase in which partnerships are tracked amidst an ever-changing environment with browser changes and privacy measures. The third component is managing this. So this is the stage of managing relationships and communicating with these partners. Arm them with the right material needed to promote the brands. Analyze. So the data analysis is extremely critical to understand the success of the optimizations that you are rolling out and leveraging analytics to make data-driven decisions relative to your partnerships. Paying these partners. So the process of rewarding partners for their value while maintaining control over your marketing spend. So paying for the type of value that they are driving, regardless of where they fall within the click path, and pay for the type of conversions that they are driving. And finally, the protection piece, ensuring that partnerships are free from fraudulent activity and representing your brand accordingly. These stages or different phases involve quite a bit of activity and movement. And without internal organization, users can feel lost in the world of partnerships. So the question to consider right now is, are you appropriately set up with software and the expertise needed to truly manage your partnerships from this lens? Scott, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
All right. Thank you, Mandy. That was great. I mean, there's been so much, I think, change and things happening around the affiliate space and partner marketing. It was really helpful to hear you kind of organize all of that, put some, terminology to it, things like performance PR that I thought was really interesting. So before we jump into the panel discussion, we wanted to ask a couple related questions to the audience, kind of see where everyone, what they're all thinking. So if we could launch the polls, and I'll just kind of read through them, and then we can see what everyone's thinking. So go to the first question. And this is around influencer marketing. So how would you describe how your influencer marketing has scaled? Is it fully scaled, growing, but with some limitations, very limited, or you're not involved in influencer marketing, so this doesn't really apply to you? So let's see what everyone has to say. Growing, but with some limitations. So that's over 50%. Just about 10% is fully scaled. And around 15-16% is very limited, and the rest are folks that are not involved in an influencer marketing right now. So we'll talk a little bit about what opportunities to scale more in this particular area. So the next question, what is your involvement in brand-to-brand partner marketing? So this requires a little bit of explanation. So think that there is a brand that you don't compete with, and maybe in your shipments, you're putting a postcard with an offer from that brand. They're doing the same thing. You're able to access each other's customer base without sharing the actual customer lists. So I've been hearing a lot of retailers interested in doing more of this. So, what is your involvement? Is it very active, somewhat active, getting started, or not involved at the moment? And hopefully I explained it so it makes sense. Only about 15% are not interested. There's around a third that are curious. Another third are getting started, and between very active and somewhat active, it's like around 20%. So seems like there's quite a bit of interest. Not a lot of you are saying that you're not interested. Going on to the next question. How would you describe your current marketing efforts on TikTok? And this could be whatever marketing you're doing. Do you consider yourselves ahead of most brands? That you have some experience, but you're still learning? You're just getting started, just dabbling at the moment? You are on the sidelines watching and waiting? Or you decided it's just not a brand fit for you right now? As expected, I don't think most folks feel like they're ahead of most brands. We have only one person, one company on here, so congratulations to you. But a lot of you are saying that you're involved to some degree, some experience, but still learning is around 23%. Wait and see is about 20%. But most of you are just getting started, just dabbling. That's around 28%. And that makes sense, given there's still a lot of product development and involved, or we're all waiting for that from TikTok. But we are going to talk a little bit about the panel discussion. So the last question is really a tee up for our for our next webinar next week. And that is, how prepared is your business for the upcoming holiday gifting season? Are you very prepared, somewhat prepared, still working on holiday plans, or eek, you haven't even started preparing yet? It seems like it's a pretty prepared group. I guess that's why you had time to join the webinar today. So kind of about almost 70% is between very prepared and somewhat prepared. Oh, now we have another person that hasn't started yet. So maybe, no offense, but maybe you should get off of the webinar and prepare for the holiday. So, all right, let's go back. Thank you all for giving us a little insight into what's going on in your businesses and within our audience. And I want to now bring our panel up to get some conversation going. And we have, as I mentioned before, Sarah Henry with Walmart and Brian Becker with 1-800-Flowers. Thank you for joining us today. Why don't we start? I think, Mandy really set the table that there's these blurring of roles. These are some new areas that are being developed. If you could, maybe start with you, Sarah, introduce yourself. Help us understand your role, kind of like what your charge is, and what do you consider partner marketing to be in the kind of partnership marketing programs that you're working on right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Scott, for having us. And man, congrats on the 50th episode here. This is great.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. So just to give a little bit of context, I lead content, influencer, and commerce efforts for Walmart. And as part of that, basically entails working on partnerships that are designed to really create storytelling moments that leverage unique credibility and authority in a space. It's about tapping into a highly engaged community and really like using those to create moments of discovery and discoverability and inspiration. And so the team and sort of what we look at is organized into kind of 3 tenets. From a content partnerships and content perspective, this includes a lot of the strategic media partnerships that we have with the New York Times Wirecutters of the world, the BuzzFeed Tasties, NBCU, et cetera, but really designed around things like, to Mandy's point earlier, affiliate editorial relationships, content partnerships, branded and custom content, and then things like shoppable media and TV. The second tranche is really focused around influencer and creator marketing and partnerships. And so while we sort of use influencers in maybe more traditional campaign work with start dates and end dates like holiday, which I think we're all immersed in right now, we also have an always on kind of approach where we partner with networks, creators and influencers themselves, and have a portfolio of thousands of creators and influencers anywhere from niche and micro on up to kind of the mega influencer echelon. And really their role is about less prescriptive messaging and more about creating an always on kind of steady drumbeat of talking about Walmart products and services in their own voices. The third tranche is really around commerce partnerships, and these kind of play across the other two, but they focus on creating these more end-to-end and a lot of the times more bespoke journeys. And it's really about tapping into where consumers are finding inspiration and moments of discovery. Could be inspiration in a lot of different forms, from getting dinner on the table to refreshing an outdoor space to refreshing a fall wardrobe. But really it's about tapping into those moments wherever they're happening and where consumers are finding them, and finding ways to just translate that into easy buying solutions. So really about shortening that distance between inspiration and purchase. And so those partnerships typically include things like emerging platforms, social players, media partners, et cetera. In terms of the principles around partner marketing, we look at a couple of different things in terms of how we structure those partnerships and how we strategically figure out who we should be partnering with. And I'd say it's based on 4 tenets. The first one is around kind of forging these complementary relationships that are rooted in these shared strategic aspirations and objectives and growth trajectories, and they span beyond any one sort of moment in time or point in time or campaign. The second tenet is about really creating or forging something that 2 companies individually couldn't really do on their own. There's something uniquely positioned about each company that kind of makes it special, whether it's point in time in the customer journey or capabilities or tools or something else. The third is that it really has to add value to the customer journey. First and foremost, like, great that it unlocks business objectives, but it has to do something that solves a problem for customers, either solving a problem that they had or currently have where we anticipate them having, or by creating an experience that we know they're going to love. And then the fourth one is really just, it typically includes some component of content, media, and product innovation. It doesn't always have all 3 of those, but generally for us to, sort of strategically create a roadmap and a partnership strategy with a partner, it really has some combination of those 3. The last thing I'll say is that the objectives around these partnerships are equally rooted in performance marketing and brand marketing, in that a lot of what we do with these partnerships is actually and does rival sort of the CACs, the hardworking customer acquisition targets, GMV and sales, et cetera, that you would see out of other performance marketing channels. But it equally plays in the brand marketing space, in that we're sort of chipping away at objectives around things like driving brand equity, perception and sentiment, particularly in categories where maybe you wouldn't necessarily think of Walmart as first, and things like perception and sentiment over time. So that was a mouthful. Scott, I'll kick it back to you.
No, that's great. I mean, that's very clearly defined. I think that speaks to, what we're trying to help everybody understand about this topic is just understanding what people like yourself are doing. So Brian, tell us a little bit about, your role at 1-800-Flowers, how it, what are you charged with doing? What are you trying to accomplish? And how do you, view partnerships in your role?
Well, first off, thank you for including me. And Mandy, I thought that was a great introduction. I think some of the challenges for a lot of us as marketers is terminology, structure, process. And so a lot of great advice in there. So my name is Brian Becker. I work in our growth marketing team and manage content innovation at 1-800-Flowers.com Inc., a company that is long steeped in innovation and a retailer of gourmet foods, floral, and other gifting products. Some of the brands we manage include Harry & David, Personalization Mall, 1-800 Flowers, Cheryl's Cookies, Wolferman's Bakery, Sherry's Berries, and a lot more. So it's not just flowers. My team's goal is to partner with our family of brands to drive more engagement and better reach consumers earlier in their decision journey, as Sarah talked about, through content, social channels, events, mobile experiences, partnerships, interactive tools that really help people provide better gifting advice. We live in a world where consumers are more digital and more mercurial. They're often unsure of what they want to purchase and insecure about their gifting approach. So as a company, we want to support them in that journey, moving from serving transactions to becoming a helpful partner that inspires them. Think entertainment and education. In that way, we will deepen our relationships with them and extend the reach of our brands and products. We work on a multitude of partnerships, to answer your question, from brand collaborations, brand ambassadors, influencers, affiliate marketing, media collaborations, and many others. So I'll go through a few of these kind of in the next couple minutes. But the other thing I would say is when you're at the intersection of some of the things that we're talking about, I always say this internally, but I have the best job in the company because every day is different. I get to work with so many people inside and outside the organization. And we as a company are realizing a really unique brand purpose.
So kind of a quick follow-up for both of you, and we'll start again with Sarah. But can you help everyone understand a little bit about, you talked about kind of where you sit in the company and your role. What are some of the other parts of the company that you interact with most often in your role? And, and part of this is, I think Mandy laid out that there's, this is all, very fluid right now. So kind of interested to hear from you and then from Brian as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I will say it is highly, highly cross-functional how we manage these partnerships, who is involved. And I'll say it tends to work the best when there's a similar structure on the partner side as well, particularly when it comes to commerce integrations and experiences that are really more bespoke, whether that's a brand experience or something that's commerce enabled. Internally, so I would say that the teams that I work with most are across marketing. So teams like analytics, customer science and insights, our channel marketers, our team that handles brand experiences and partnerships, and our category marketing teams. I would say from a cross-functional perspective outside of marketing, also highly, highly collaborative in working with merchants, creative, and product and technology. And then we also have a business strategy and development team that sort of handles some of the larger strategic partnerships that span beyond, content and commerce. I would say for commerce relationships in particular, there is a highly cross-functional sort of setup. And the mantra behind this is that no one person can lead or drive a partnership single-handedly. We're all bringing expertise from different areas. And the way that it kind of works best is when everybody brings their pieces of the puzzle to the table together. And so again, particularly in the world of commerce partnerships, we have a pretty ironclad, kind of organizational setup that includes marketing and biz strategy, which is, sort of our team, product, technology, and design.
And I'll go next. So yeah, I think in the same way Sarah talks about it being incredibly cross-functional, that's true of us as well. There's several groups that participate in the identification, the screening, the execution of new and existing collaborations. We work with folks from PR, brand marketers, media teams, especially affiliate marketers kind of in the organization, social media and content teams. So clearly to be successful, you need to work across the organization. You need to inspire some change within some of those teams because this is in still cases many new to them. Each of these folks come to the table with their own bias, with their own ideas. And often there are different point folks that are assigned to manage different pieces of work based on kind of where it originates in the organization. We also use technology vendors and agencies to help with our process so that we get external viewpoints and leverage new relationships. I think where we are changing is how we do these types of collaborations. It could be programming that we create and release through online events or media channels to share our products. But we are testing into new areas around how to humanize our business and market through word of mouth. And most importantly, we are integrating our approach across these teams to better reach consumers and just drive better and more consideration of our brands in some of those channels.
And so, Mandy, I want to hear your point of view. I mean, obviously, Walmart and 1-800-Flowers are, large enterprise brands. And Partnerize, you're working with, large companies, but also, medium size and some smaller as well. What are you seeing in terms of resources to focus on partner marketing? Do you have to be the size of 1-800-Flowers or Walmart to do this? And if not, what resources are should be leveraged?
Yeah, I mean, I would say within smaller organizations, we are definitely seeing cross-functional areas coming together to leverage partnerships. I would say, especially with the D2C brands, many of these brands are in high growth mode, and there's multiple teams that are leaning on the partnership channel to really track a variety of different relationships, especially with influencers and content creators. So I have an example of one D2C brand that we're working with. And I think this is a perfect example. There's 3 functions that are utilizing the channel. So PR is using the channel as a means to get their products introduced and in front of the editors at various content publications. They utilize the partnership channel as a means to really introduce these products, pitching products for inclusion in posts and different articles. And if the brand is able to yield performance as a result, they then segue into a larger conversation with the publication about editorial placements, which are often far more expensive that the brand would pay outside of the affiliate channel. I would also say the same brand has a social team that is tapping this channel to engage some publishers for podcast advertising. So with the use of a specific exclusive code technology, this allows podcasters, they're able to share and talk about brands, and they're offering out discount codes and any other. We're tracking that activity regardless if a click is present. So we're using the use of technology as well to track this engagement that other teams are using to promote their brands outside of affiliate.
Yeah. So, and I want to kind of stick with you, Mandy, and have you answer a question that came from one of our attendees, our friend Chris Hardesty, big Houston Astros fan. He's curious how companies like Partnerize, are tracking partner performance versus historical last click cookie tracking.
Yeah, so I would say in terms of the shift from last click in general, there are multiple tools that we are using, and I would say many brands are using, again, to shift the credit of paying for the transaction based on the value that the traffic, based on the traffic that was driven, as well as the type of conversion that was made. So a few of these examples, I would say, first and foremost, is the ability to hand pick someone in the click path and give them credit for the sale, typically high intent upper funnel partners, allowing them credit for the sale simply for driving and introducing this transaction. Exclusive code technology. This is one that I was just speaking to, allowing brands the ability to promote within the affiliate space, word of mouth promotions, unique ways to get your name out there, but you don't necessarily have to click on an affiliate link to have this tracked within the platform. So I think those, in addition to split commissioning, which allows people to pay based on different values and where they see value within the click path. And another one is in-cart attribution, which really allows you to credit someone for introducing the sale, as opposed to giving credit to that last click partner. So I think there's so many different things that can be done and leveraged. It's really up to the brands to determine what is the value of the partnerships, and where do you see the most value in terms of the traffic that they're driving. Hope that helps.
Yeah, I mean, Sarah, Brian, anything you'd want to add on the attribution topic?
I mean, I would just say it's complex, right? And I think in many instances, for a lot of us, there's different systems that we're using that track things independently. So the more you can bring that together and think kind of full funnel, the more effective it's going to be. And I think part of the, kind of art here is advocating internally for, not just the last click, but the first and second one, and what leads to kind of driving consideration.
Yeah, I agree. It's complex. It's tricky. I also think, conversion-based attribution is one part of the story. I know the question was about that specifically, but would add, like, there's lots of other different types of KPIs to add color to the story that a conversion story wouldn't necessarily tell. One of the things that we use when we look at influencer effectiveness, for instance, is, yes, we look at the typical things like engagement rates and things like that for in-campaign and in-program optimization, but we also look at the trend and the trajectory of things like earned media value over time, similar to how you might look at a PR story or something like that. We also look at things like sentiment shift over time, and not just sentiment in terms of how many people said awesome in a post, but really, are they talking about the things that you want them to talk about? How is that resonating with their community? Is the conversation happening about the thing you want it to be happening about, or is it happening about something else? And what does that trajectory look like over time? We use that in particular for objectives where we're looking at, like, things like category growth, like maybe somebody was coming to a Walmart for for their groceries, but we were able to get them to shop the beauty aisle or the home aisle or something like that. And so I think those types of other sort of ancillary and secondary KPIs add a lot of color to the story, in addition to however you choose to kind of attribute on a conversion basis.
So I want to switch gears a little bit. Brian and Sarah, I think you both used the term creators when you were talking about the work that you do. And this is a term we're hearing a lot more of, especially with the growth of TikTok and YouTube and Instagram Reels and things like that. But maybe you could just, help our audience, tell us, like, what's your point of view on creators and the role that they play in digital marketing and in e-commerce? Brian, do you want to start?
Sure. I mean, I think the poll question was revealing, right? I think there's a lot of learning to do for a lot of brands, especially on TikTok, which is a newer platform that, is very user-led. But in many ways, these platforms provide easier and better access to creators and a way to reach consumers directly. TikTok is especially a younger demographic. So, we approach it assuming in many instances, these are longer-term customers and should be less transactional creative. Whether we use TikTok, Google, or create programming ourselves, we launched over 20 online events last year through Facebook. Our focus is to create programming that entertains or educates our consumers. I think at the heart of a lot of this is shoppertainment, right? It's a new trend that retailers are thinking of, and it's important to kind of consider that as we lean into 22. The downside of working with outside creators is it's not as easy to directly market on third-party platforms, right? So maybe that's stating the obvious, but we can advertise around the creative. We want to ensure that whatever we sponsor, feels native to the platform it's on. So often when we work with media partners, we'll license the content they create so we can do that in our channels, and it's a true partnership. But these channels and the creators that are on them, they give us an advantage to build new creative, be authentic in some of the places they're in, and to reach new consumers, which we obviously as a brand are a huge fan of. To me, it takes trust for brands sometimes to let others speak for you, but it ultimately allows our campaigns to reach more consumers in new and surprising ways.
It's so interesting. I mean, it really gets back to what Mandy was saying about this blending of roles. And, as you're giving your answer, Brian, and I'm thinking, you're talking about this transition from being transactional to building relationships. I mean, it feels like building brand equity, which hasn't necessarily always been in the digital marketing realm, but it's everything seems to be blending together right now. So Sarah, what's your thought on the role of creators and digital marketing? And
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, super interesting points from you and Brian. I totally agree. I think the role of creators is a really interesting one, and depends on the vehicles in which you're using them. I mean, I guess for us definitionally, I think, and I'm curious if, maybe those listening in and this group have sort of used creators and influencers used interchangeably within the organization or more broadly within the industry. I know I have, and we've had a lot of debate about this internally. For us, creators it's sort of like a square rectangle thing. Like any influencer is a creator, but not all creators are influencers. But for us, a creator is really anybody who creates content anywhere. And it's really It could be social creators, it could be customers, it could be our local associates, it could be editors and content producers at media organizations. And I think the thing that threads all of this is it's less about like us getting super and overly prescriptive about the message that's going to work, whatever we're asking them to tell the story about. It's really about content creators as creators who are telling their story in their own voice, where they want to, whether that's TikTok or somewhere else, and really us making it easy for them to incorporate Walmart products and services into anything that they're talking about. And that could be anywhere from like a relatable mom who, yeah, does post on social, but she's trying to get dinner on the table and like she's trying to get her toddler to eat something other than chicken nuggets and mac and cheese. Maybe I'm a focus group of one, but it could be something like that. It could be, someone who is looking for their next trendy top as they're refreshing their fall wardrobe. And so it's less about us getting in the way of the message and kind of creating that hashtag ad moment and more about enabling content creators to tell their story how they want. I think they're also the lifeblood of social platforms. I think these platforms like TikTok, we all know them, right? Like they wouldn't exist without creators. They're really the epicenter of everything that is happening on social. And so it's really about, in some ways, using creators as the channel and less the social platforms themselves as the channel as you're thinking about the content strategy and what you're sort of asking them to do, in service of partner marketing.
So I want to take another question from an attendee, Douglas Mapes, and I'm going to try to paraphrase this. I think what he's saying is that the upfront cost of affiliate partner marketing is coming down with different social media platforms, Facebook groups, Instagram, TikTok, and that there's a lower, barrier to entry to have more partners than you did previously. And does that mean you need to strive for a higher standard with those who are representing your brand? And just generally, how are you thinking about, the partners that you're working with? How do you make decisions about who is a partner or not? So I don't know, Sarah, Brian, if either one of you want to take that first.
We're both waiting for each other to answer. I can take it. I think it depends on the type of partnership that we're striving to make and sort of the objectives around that. For something where there's maybe a little bit more of a network or portfolio approach, and I just mentioned our creator and influencer network, for us, it's less about, like, again, us, sort of forming a one-to-one relationship with every single creator and influencer as a partner and less prescriptive about the message, more giving them the guidelines of how to talk about Walmart, what we think, would be interesting to talk about, whether that's seasonal, cultural, whatever type of moment it is, and really just letting them kind of go in their own voice within reason. And so I think that from that perspective, the answer is less about, like, we don't necessarily limit or cap the number of partners that we have. I do think when it comes to maybe these more bespoke partnerships that have a level of maybe content or media or product innovation or all of those things, we are selective only in that it comes down to what we think we can execute in terms of resourcing and what our team is equipped to do, and our team being broad, including our internal team and our agency partners. But it also comes down to strategically what we're trying to achieve and making sure that there's the right balance of we think we're going to be able to achieve our shared strategic objectives, and we think we're actually innovating positively for a customer in a way that's going to be additive and not just be something for the sake of doing it. And so from that perspective, we are a bit more selective, but network approach, it's really about them telling their message in their own voice.
Anything you wanted to add there, Brian?
No, I think Sarah hit the nail on the head. I think the other kind of thing to really rally around is just joint incentives, right? To make sure whatever partnerships you kind of create, whether they're brand marketing relationships, influencers, media partnerships, that that you're duly incented, right? A lot of these we think of like vendor-client relationship, and that has changed, right? And so these truly are kind of collaborations. That's why I've referred to it a few times that way, that, you need to make sure as an influencer, as an example, they're incented, right? You're not just sending them products anymore. They're really incented to, do something and motivated to drive engagement, which is a lot of times the beginning kind of KPI for what a lot of us care about.
All right, we have about 5 minutes. I feel like there's this question of scalability with influencers that's really important to cover. And maybe I'll start with you, Brian. I mean, I think the current narrative is that influencer marketing is really effective. The challenge is scaling it at the level that we see with the more traditional marketing channels like paid search or paid social. So can you talk a little bit about how do you agree with that statement? Do you feel like it is more scalable than maybe people believe, or what are some of the things that help make it more scalable?
Well, I think the answer to your question, do I agree with that, is it depends, right? So it depends on what you're measuring, and if you consider sure long-term goal is important. Hopefully, companies are moving to more of a long-term focus. I think that's a lot of what Mandy kind of referred to. It's also important to build a sense of understanding that we want to measure kind of full funnel impact of these types of initiatives and not just the last click. So awareness to a new audience, high quality utility of our products, and downstream conversion and loyalty. We're working internally. We're a central team, and so to showcase best practices and demonstrate what's working and often what's not working to some of our internal brands, we've scaled influencer campaigns greatly over the last 12 months with a range of small size collaborators to now thinking bigger. In our world, that's chefs, that's DIY experts that we can develop a deeper relationship with. Our main hypothesis that we are proving kind of every day when we come in is an engaged consumer a better customer? And what does that mean to the company? My hope is that content, social, video, and other non-product creative leads to core parts of our campaigns and allows consumers to not just shop with us, but allows them to read, watch, and share from us. And finally, the last kind of plug I'll say is we have a really quickly growing loyalty program. It's called the Celebrations Passport Loyalty Program. It has over 1 million members. This program began with providing free shipping because we're obviously an e-commerce company, but we're evolving it to be more about exclusive access and other benefits for our best customers. So we regularly see these types of members spending more time. So it makes sense as we do these influencer relationships to provide access to some of the insights that they share. And it's really aimed at building long-lasting relationships with our customers.
All right, so we need to start wrapping up. So it's prediction time. Mandy, I'm going to start with you. So the question for all of you is, looking ahead to holiday 2021, what kind of partnership marketing do you think is really going to stand out among consumers? What are we going to be talking about in January when it comes to partner marketing?
So I think we're going to continue to talk about content. I talked about how that increased. We saw an increase 75% year over year. I think that is going to continue their momentum. However, a diversified partner strategy is best. You don't want to over-index in one type. So I do foresee winning tactics and other partner types being successful with savings and loyalty partners as well. Really comes down to the brand's goals, but I would say, content is going to be top of mind, but you are still going to see some of the savings and loyalty partners exceed as well.
All right, Brian.
I still think we're in the age of storytelling. So the brands that are culturally relevant are the ones that will gain market share. It's less about the channel and more about the need for retailers in general to change. The use of influencers, and all these other things we talk about are more tactics, right? The really important thing is that that we take that promise of what people want online and digital seriously. I work at a gifting company. Our vision is to inspire human expression, connection, and celebration. So to do that, we need to really kind of reach that brand purpose, and these things help.
All right, and Sarah, finally.
Oh, you all are so confident in your answers. I agree. I think we've seen this throughout the year and perhaps, accelerated by the pandemic, but I think we're going to continue to see a surge in these sort of 360 activations, and 360 in the sense that they are, creating these moments of content discovery and inspiration. To Brian's point, they also are linking kind of experiential with digital. I think particularly given the sort of cultural and seasonal climate we're in, we're going to start to see 360 activations that are not just generally digital, but also have some element of of experiential through the physical sense, whether that's in store or something else. I think we're going to see a continuation of commerce and shoppable enabled integration. So in other words, it's not just about the experiences, it's also about how they link to easy buying solutions and how there are commerce enabled features that permeate through those. And then I think creators being used in new ways is going to be another one. I think we've started again to see this, but I think that's going to be something that continues, to resonate throughout the holiday season and will be on Fulbrights.
All right. So just quick, one more round. Are you building your team? Where can people find out more information? Sarah?
Yes, we are a rapidly growing team, not just across content, influencer, and commerce, but across marketing and the enterprise in general. We're hiring for several roles across content, influencer, and commerce, but also more broadly within the marketing organization. So if interested, definitely encourage anyone to visit careers.walmart.com or reach out directly.
Brian?
Yeah, the holidays are interesting for us. So we hire over 10,000 people to scale up for the holidays. So we're always looking for great talent, change agents, people that want to do the things we talked about. 1-800-flowersinc.com/careers, or you can send me a note on LinkedIn.
All right, Mandy.
And yes, same as Brian and Sarah, we are seeking talent across all of our global locations in a variety of different business units. So anyone interested, I highly encourage you to check out partnerize.com/careers.
All right. Thank you all so much for great conversation. Thank you again, Mandy, for a great presentation. We are going to be back next week on October 20th for a conversation about holiday gifting. And want to encourage you, just go to CommerceNext.com, look at our upcoming events, check out our podcast, and have a good rest of your day. And we look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Thank you.
Scott, thanks so much for having us. And thanks for those viewing in.
Thanks, everyone.